Hello, everybody. This is actually it's the second GoTo meeting, but it's the first time we're using this as a group to present some of the topics for CyberPatriots. And the plan is for us to do different sessions at different levels. So this one we'll call kind of a medium level session, meaning not for just people. I mean, it's fine for people who are new, but it's also fine for people who have been part of CyberPatriots for a while. We're going to break them up into sessions where some are just for brand new folks and some are for more experts. I'm going to be doing it. Mrs. Wood will be doing some of these, and then also Mr. Rodriguez that you guys, a lot of you met. Gosh, it must have been like 6 weeks ago, and everything was going on with the school. So anyway, the topic today is about passwords, and I thought about taking this through like a very methodical way with all the passwords, but I really wanted to make it a little bit more freeform. And I think the main thing I'm going to show you is kind of what's bad about a bad password. So first of all, I think we all have lots of passwords. I know I do. I've got hundreds of passwords, and even you as students, I'm sure, have tons as well. What I'm wondering about here is are any of you using bad passwords? And I chance to guess that some of you are. So one of the questions I have for everybody is, what do people think a bad password looks like? And go ahead and type it in your chat window so other people can see it as well. Yeah, the first one, Lando said password. That was a very bad password, and that is bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, Club Penguin password. 1, 2, 3 ABC. My name. Yes, those are all bad passwords. Birthday. Yes. So. In fact, this is just a quick Google search shows this. Yeah, okay, these are good. I like seeing all those. Favorite animal 1, 2, 3. Actually, that's one that'll be fun to check. Picking somebody's favorite animal. Anyway, this link here is for the one that shows the frequency of bad passwords. So you may have heard about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a social networking site for people who have professional, for sharing with your professional relationship with other people that are professional. And LinkedIn got hacked, and the passwords were able to be discovered by either they were actually cracked the passwords, or they went and they looked at the hash that was from the actual password, meaning it's still encrypted, but they knew that this hash came up with these very common passwords. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 was the highest frequency password. And here's the name of the site. LinkedIn is still way up there. Then of course, password is on the list. So this is by frequency. This is the number of times individual separate people use these same passwords. So this is top 50. Now, yeah, you can kind of see how bad they are. And I think we all instinctively know, and we've seen our group, how bad some of these are. So we know what a bad password looks like. So can anyone say why is that a problem? And there's obviously lots of problems, but let's see if anybody can say anything on the chat about what the problem of having a bad password. Yeah, no, but first one, Lando, I don't want them want them hackers. And Hannah said not secure. That's good. Getting your info right. So if you use a bad password, then they can obviously get into your account. But there's another thing. We'll just flip to the next slide. Sure, if they guess right, so they use a lame password, they can get in. There's also things like hacking software, email hack attacks. You know, a lot of us use things like Gmail, right? And you know, you don't really notice that someone is trying to attack Gmail because you don't see that side. You just see your account. But I'll show you something I have here. This is I run an email server for my company and also for my family. And what these are notifications I get when there's an attack on the server. Now, I'm nothing special. My accounts are nothing that people are desperately trying to get into. I'm not the president or whatever. But if you look at these, what are they trying to do? All right. You can see the account that they're trying to do here is like they use admin@buschfamily.org. So they basically said, I bet there's an account named admin, and I'm just going to try it. Look at where it came from. It says blocked, and it says Antigua, Barbuda. These are IP addresses of machines probably that are bots that have been attacked, and they're now being used against me to try and hack my passwords. So admin, okay, that's not too scary because they're just guessing out of the blue. Although, you know, admin is a common login name, so, you know, there it is again, admin. It's the same thing, Antigua. Here's one from Gabon, another admin. So it seems like maybe this is a coordinated attack from bots. Now look at the time difference between them. You know, 150, 147. This is ongoing. Here's one from Pakistan, admin. So I don't think that randomly all these people are coming across trying to hack my password from all these different countries. These are examples of computers that have been taken over by bot farms, and they're trying to use them because what happens, you can see, this gets blocked. After 5 failed attempts, I have my server set up so it'll permanently block them. Let's see, there's another one. Okay, admin, still admin. Now, what gets a little bit scarier is when it touches a little bit closer to home. This is my brother's name is Mark. Mark at buschfamily.org. That's an account that actually exists on our server. So somebody got a hold of his email and said, well, I know where buschfamily.org is hosted, so I'm going to do a dedicated attack. So now this time they know there's an actual Mark at buschfamily.org, and now they're trying to attack with different passwords. Same thing, failed attempts from Thailand. So Azerbaijan, Pakistan, so Saudi Arabia. These are going on all the time for places like Google, and they have ways, obviously, of knowing when these kinds of attacks are coming through. But you know, when you think, oh, who's messing around with me, or who's trying to break my password, it's happening all the time. And of course, the problem is when these email attacks, hack attacks get in. Well, a lot of us use our user accounts. Oops, sorry, I'm jumping around here. The same user account to get into many different things. My email account is bob@buschfamily.org. So I'm using that for lots of different things because they need to confirm my account. So if that is a login to all these different things, to my bank accounts, to whatever, if they hack your password on one, then you can use the same account and then try that password somewhere else. So that's the crack one, get one, or many for free. So now I'm going to cover one. Actually, no, while I'm still on this topic, I'm going to like to try something. So what I have here, this is actually on another PC in my office. And what I did was I went online, and because these massive hacks that happened out there, I went and downloaded a consolidated list of hacked passwords. So these are not multiple copies of the same password, but these are passwords that were actually used by people. Now, what I did was I put a query in this database, and I said, okay, what if I use the word scum? How many passwords have the word scum in them? And there's 428, you can see 428 rows here of versions of a password with the word scum in it. Somebody's asking to go full screen. Yeah, let me try that. It's kind of hard to see with the, can you still see my screen? Shoot, hold on. I could just make it bigger here. Is that a little bit better? Okay. Because it's a screen and a screen, but anyway, you can kind of see the query scum. Down here it says 428 rows, but now I'd like to try somebody's, somebody try to give me their birth date, the whole birthday. Okay, got one. All right, I'm just going to put this number in here. And all right. Now, one thing that's particularly bad about birth dates is because they have sort of a common length, and I'll just hit go on this. Okay, it's executing. It's going to take a moment. Since it has a common format, then what happens is that when you put in numbers into a password, and you can find all the birth dates that match that format, and there just aren't that many numbers to try. So birth dates are really bad. While that's querying away, maybe I can get some other folks to offer up something you want me to try. Someone in the chat. Lots of birthday wishes to Ms. Wood. Okay. Somebody earlier said favorite pet 1, 2, 3, or favorite animal 1, 2, 3. Does anybody have a favorite animal you want to try?
Okay, this is a password thing for CyberPatriots. We're learning about passwords.
If you, sorry, I couldn't hear that well. Can you say it again? Okay, so actually the password, there's 3 rows that showed up. So the first password is in there. So somebody else had apparently Miss Wood's same birthday. Or maybe this was one of her passwords and it was hacked. I'm not sure. All right, I saw some names. The first one that came out that was giraffe. So I'm going to try giraffe.
Way confusing.
Now that query right there, that's called an SQL query. And in fact, some of you for one of the CyberPatriots, who's the microchips and guac, had to discover passwords of a MySQL, or you checking to a MySQL database. And this is an example of a query from the database. I I see lots of stuff in here. Now, I think these passwords date to a few years ago, so they some of the later things, like I think Honey Badger, I don't know if Honey Badger would be in there, but one thing I wanted to point out too, and maybe we won't try it now on live, but we can try it maybe some other time, is it turns out curse words tend to be very, very highly used. So that's another thing. If you think you're being smart by using a password that has the F word in it, for example, you're one of very many people. So these are all the passwords that have giraffe in it. It's still going, but we've got 125 rows.
Jeez. Okay.
Now, so this kind of password.
Out without taking it. Oh well, I have all my stuff anyway.
This kind of password is. Can everybody hear me? Okay, just yeah, I just muted caller one. Okay. See, this is what we have here. This is a dictionary of actual passwords that were hacked, and what that means is, you know, the likelihood of them being used is much higher than ones that are just being made up by a computer, like random characters. So like you can see, giraffe is a somewhat popular animal. The reason why I put scum in there was I figured that one. Anyone have a G-rated? Okay, there was a good question on where this hacked password database came from. So I Googled it, and it's actually a text file. And in order to get it, I had to download it using the BitTorrent client. And that was a good question. But basically, if you Google like hacked passwords, you can find different databases where they have been built. All right. Let's see, looking back here, in another password, does anyone have sort of a PG-rated curse word to use? Somebody wants Buzz Lightyear. Stupid. All right. Fart poop. Okay, that's enough. I got plenty of ideas. Let's do just stupid. What Mr. Rodriguez and I were talking about doing was setting up a way that you could query it yourself. So you could, like through a web page or something like that, get on and run a query maybe of your own passwords and see if they showed up. I tried running, you know, obviously my name and stuff. So it's generating a bunch right here. Oh, stupid, 0, stupid, stupid, stupid 3, stupid 4, stupid 6. Try to say no to hackers. I did try actually typing in some passwords that were longer and more complicated, and I like putting it in kind of a query where it's finding a version of it, because I don't even know if just plain stupid was in here. So I didn't want to do too long for this first meeting, but let me go back to just one other topic, and then maybe at the end we can try a few more if we want to. So the topic is social engineering. And does anyone Has anyone been a victim of social engineering that they know of? The way social engineering works, and actually it turns out some of the problems that happened with the Democratic National Convention was that somebody was able to call up and say, hey, I lost my password, can you reset it, or something like that. They found the right person to get them to do that. So they didn't have to break in through the outside world. They basically just had to find the weak link, which is a person. Another example of social engineering might even be like, hey, you have a super hard password, but you have a sticky underneath your keyboard that has the password. That's another one where all they have to do is find your password and then get into your office and look under your keyboard. So the most tricky forms of social engineering is when they know just enough about you, and this has happened to me at work where someone will call and say, is this Bob? And then I'll see, yeah, what's up? Then what they will do is ask me, hey, are you still working at Northrop Grumman? And now I'm starting to worry, why are they asking me about that? If they don't know I'm working at Northrop Grumman, I don't even know who this is. They're gathering information about me. They can use that information. They can call somebody else and say, oh yeah, I know Bob over at Northrop Grumman, we just chatted. So it's just a way to break in the getting someone's password by getting to know them, or getting them to tell you something. And I'm glad on the chat there's some people asking some questions. It's good, a good way to learn. I'm going to go just to the last slide where I'm going to remind myself of some other things I wanted to talk about. So we talked about the robot attacks or bot attacks. I want to talk about the lowest hanging fruit. So you guys are all part of CyberPatriots, which means in a way you're ahead of the pack. I made this comment before to the class that when you know something about cybersecurity, then you're probably a little bit harder to get than somebody else. And most of the bad guys, they don't want to fuss around with trying to crack your long password with capital letters and numbers and symbols. They're content to just go after somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. So anyway, you're already one step ahead. Think of it as sort of like, I think you've all seen the Wild Kingdom or something like that, where you're seeing a pack of animals being chased by a tiger. They always go after the weak one of the herd and get that one. So make sure you have tough passwords for that. I mentioned social engineering. Dumb things to do. Have one password for all your accounts. It is so easy to say, oh, well, I'll just use the same password. That way I'll never forget. Is there anyone who's willing to admit that they use the same password everywhere over in the chat? Okay, I see some me's. Yep, yeah, not me. Okay, so consider yourself warned. Now, the best way to avoid using one password for all your accounts is to use a password keeper. And I use one, and this is not an advertisement for this company, but LastPass.com. So in this case, what you have is you have one, you can go to a website, put all your passwords in, and they are not actually stored online. They're stored encrypted on their site. The only way they can be unencrypted is with your master password. But then you can have lots of different passwords, and they synchronize across your different devices. So, and it's free. So I highly recommend getting something. If you can use it on your phone, it's great. Let's see, back to my thing. Password keeper, password generators. Oh yeah, there's another thing. And it's hard to think of. Somebody was over on the side saying that they use the password generator, Lando. The other benefit you can have with LastPass is that it does have a way to do password generation as well. This is an example of generating a secure password with LastPass. So this is integrated into the app. So you go like this, and there's a random password. You can choose different things. Make pronounceable is an option. You can use all these characters. You can say change the length, and you can just generate lots and lots of different hard passwords. But once you set up a password keeper like this, you can cut and paste. And if you have like an iPhone or an Android phone, they can get cut and paste right from the phone into whatever site you're getting into. And Lando points out there's multiple extensions on the Chrome store to manage passwords too. So Julian said he's afraid to use LastPass, and the way it works is it's stored encrypted, and there's been a lot of research on secure ways to do password keeping, and this is one of the most secure. I've researched it myself, and so that's why I use LastPass. But feel free to look around. We're not going to get into how to change your password on Linux and Windows. Maybe that's something we can do for another time. But anyway, that's all I've got to cover. And I apologize for this being a little bit freeform and not having as much to show. But we'll get better at that as time goes by. So Mrs. Wood, do you want to weigh in and ask any questions or anything?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Busch, for taking the time tonight for doing this. Like I said to you guys at the very beginning, I would really appreciate all of you that are on right now. There's 21 of you that are on. Just take a minute right now and shoot me an email. You guys all shot me an email, and I responded back to you about how this worked, whether the time worked okay, the date worked okay, was it easy, was it hard to view, was it information that you thought was useful, anything like that. Today's session was specifically just a general session for everyone, and we will in the future have other sessions, and that will have a calendar that is spelled out so that you can see exactly what you're going to basically be learning when we're here in this online space. I know a lot of us have some issues with just getting into the classroom sometimes because of other activities that we're doing. So we're trying to get as best in a venue that we can get possible.
Yeah, and I'm seeing some of the feedback in the chat. That's great. And if the mic is not so good, I'm sorry about that. I can't hear myself speaking, so I couldn't tell if it's not as good. Also, I think the audio may work better via phone sometimes. Somebody commented about audio getting funky. We did have that problem where the muting was a little bit odd. We had a caller 1 on there. Did anyone have anything that they wanted to add via voice? I've seen all the chat comments, so I think that's great. All right, well, I guess we'll wrap this up, and all feedback is welcome. I like the feedback. Also, if you want me to set up one day in a classroom the password checker, I can do that. We can remote up, and you guys can then try it on your own for fun. And
Yeah,
let's
Mr. Busch,
see.
we can set that up. You and I can set that up, and then I will let them know. Where are we going to leave this recording, just so they can come back to it if they want to?
So that's a good question. There is on the Google Drive, there's a place where we started instructional videos, CyberPatriots screencasts, and what it is it's just had the links to the different screencasts. So I will add this once it's done being converted. I'll put it into the screencast. And I just wanted to add, I guess there were some people having problem with the voice lags and so forth. I think that if you had dialed into the phone, you might have had a better time at it. It might have been slow to see what was on the screencast, but the voice would have been probably better because most people's phones don't have a lag. Did anyone dial in via phone besides me? Okay, Ashley Chen, how was the voice via the phone? Did it seem to work pretty good? Yeah, so Ashley's saying it worked fine. So anyway, so that's a lesson learned is for that. Ms. Wood, you're via web totally, or are you on the phone for the audio?
No, I am totally on my MacBook right now, and it has not lagged at all, and it has not hiccuped at all as far as the screen goes. But I agree with, I believe it was either Sonia or, yeah, Sonia said it depends on how strong your connection is. I definitely agree with that. If you are probably using Wi-Fi, if you are closer to your hub, then you are probably better off than you're not. If you are having a jumpy voice activation, then I would definitely call in for next time if you can.
Yep, and we've learned a lesson there. That's good. We can also, if you missed any part of it because of the jumping around or you didn't understand, you can watch the recording on the screencast.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't want to. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't want to keep you guys too much later because it is 2 minutes past what we said it was going to be.